So very disappointed for Malik, and he's obviously been playing such good football, and he provides great leadership for this football team. So disappointed for him, but he will bounce back. Dylan Sampson has a calf injury. I'd say he's day-to-day. Jack Conklin remains in concussion protocol. Wyatt Teller has a calf injury. I'd call it week to week. So we'll see how those guys come out of it in the next few days. Obviously, like we talked about yesterday, did not play complementary football. And we did too many things that make it hard to beat a good team. It's not about one play. There's not one play that I'm talking about, but just in general, as a team, we have to play complementary football. And that'll be our focus. That's something that we're watching the tape right now, pointing it out in ways that we can be better offensively, defensively, special teams. With that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, first question with Jeff.
Hey, Kevin, Gage, he fumbled one punt, muffed another, and then he lost a third on a muff. Did you think about replacing him at any point with anybody?
You know, Gage is a young player that I have faith in. I trust. He's been very dependable this season. Jeff, he's played in some of the conditions that we've had down there in previous games have been tough. Obviously, the muff, those are one of the easy ones that he just didn't make in this game, but I trust him. The other time he had one of our players bumped into him, and then he needs to secure the ball on that third one, like you mentioned. But this is a young player that I feel that he is getting better throughout this season. We trust him. He'll keep working, and that's all it is.
All right, thank you.
All right, next one, Scott.
Hey, Kevin, when you went back and watched those 4th and 1s, what stood out to you as far as why they didn't work?
Yeah, we need to do a better job as coaches to give our guys an opportunity there. Of course, we can execute better, all those type of things. That's been an area where we've been, have had some success this season in some of those 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 situations. We did not yesterday. So you got to give credit to San Francisco, but there are definitely things that we can do better on our end.
And the same for that long punt return. I know we talked about all year when it's happened, but what did you see on yesterday's?
Yeah, we leveraged the ball well. We just got to make a play. Somebody's got to get that guy on the ground. We're in good shape. We just didn't. We leveraged well, but at the point of attack, we did not play together there to get that one on the ground. Thanks.
All right, next one, Mary Kay.
Yeah, Kevin, just wondering, after you watched the film of Shedeur, what are some things that you saw him build on from the week before? And then a follow-up to that is, what is maybe the wisdom in kind of taking this thing week to week if you're still doing that?
Yeah, again, Shedeur had some really good moments in that football game. There are things that he wants back that we're coaching up right now that he can improve upon. But bottom line is we have to continue to put our players in position to succeed. For the young quarterback, you only get better with more turns at this thing in these games, as you see more coverages, as you see more defenses, and as you prepare versus different defenses. So just looking forward to that constant improvement with Shedeur and for all of our young players.
And just the notion of kind of just not looking beyond this week, is that still your strategy for this? And what is the thinking behind that?
Yeah, I'm just dealing with our football team week to week, but I'm pleased with his progress. He knows he wants to continue to get better and better, and that's the right attitude to have, and that's why we'll continue to work.
Thank you.
All right, next one, Tony.
Hi, Kevin, on the 4th and 1 from your 33, Teller was coming in. He hadn't been on that. And I know you wanted to get the playoff and kind of quick snap him, but were you close to calling a timeout at all?
Yeah, had the injury to Jack, which had some moving parts with KT, and so had Wyatt out there late, which that's something that we need to be better about as an offensive unit, as coaches, as players. Had an eye on it, felt like we were going to get the snap off. Obviously, we didn't execute in that situation. I want to make sure that I'm always putting our players in positions to succeed. It's a situation where you don't want to use your timeouts in the second half if you don't have to, if you can get the play off. But obviously, we didn't get what we wanted there, which is disappointing. So always thinking about if there's better ways in those situations to put our guys in position to go get it.
And Malachi Corley catching the ball at the 5. What was his explanation? Was he confused about the rule? Or was
No, he knows the rule. He's well aware of the rule. He made a mistake again, and that's what I said earlier. It's this. These games are never about one player, one person. He's a young player he'll learn from that and he'll be better.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Cam.
Kevin, kind of sticking with the special teams, Grant Delpit said last night after the game that it's not so much of a things need to change in preparation. It's hard to prepare on special teams. You just kind of have to make plays and give the effort. Would you agree with that? And do you feel like there maybe is more that you guys can do in a week to clean up some of those, whether it's returning or coverage on returns to clean up some of those special teams blunders?
Well, I think definitely I trust in the way that we prepare. I trust in how we get our guys ready, and we'll always look at if there's things that we can do differently. We'll always look at that, Cam, in the structure of what we do. But I feel like we do a good job getting our guys prepared. And then the effort's there. We just got to get those guys on the ground. That's obviously disappointing in those moments. But again, it's about getting it out of our guys, whether that's going to come from the meeting room, the practice field, etc. I trust that our guys will work and will improve.
And then with Malik, I know obviously a blow to the interior, but also we've talked so much about how he's impacted, what Miles has been able to do, what the edge has been able to do, and how that trickles back. So one, how big of a loss is it to the entire defense to lose a guy who's playing like Malik was, and then how do you plan on maybe addressing his absence?
Sure. Well, when you lose a guy like Malik, you don't replace him. Everybody's just got to step up. It's multiple guys that have to step up. But he's made a big impact on this football team on the field and off the field. I think our young room, we have some older guys in there, but we have a bunch of young guys in there. I think they've learned a lot from the professional that Malik is on a day in, day out basis. And I think you have to carry that with you throughout.
Thanks.
All right, next we're going to Joe.
Kevin, Shedeur raised a point after the game yesterday, just in terms of building time on task with Jerry and building more of a trust level with him. In terms of a young quarterback with receivers, how much of that is practice and how much is maybe meeting room, watching film? Just what is the process in terms of building that?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. I think it's definitely being on the same page as an offense, and that comes in meetings and walkthroughs and understanding concepts and what we're trying to do and those type of things. And then time on task on the football field and practice and routes versus air and games. I think all of that adds up.
Okay, thanks.
All right, next we're to Chris.
Hey, Kevin, I want to ask you about Wyatt and the calf injury. When exactly did the injury initially occur? And I guess to answer that, then I'll move on to my next question.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure when I can picture it happening on film, but I don't know the exact play.
How much the decision to go with Tevin and rotate him in, how early in the week did you kind of decide to go with that? And just was that based on what you saw with Tevin in practice or what you were seeing with Wyatt, during the course of the season?
Yeah, obviously with decisions like that, I always make sure I talk to our players and let them know what I'm thinking. I felt like it would help Wyatt play better. And obviously I think Tevin's deserving of some plays. And I thought both guys played really well yesterday.
Thanks.
All right, next we're to Daniel. Can't hear you, Daniel. No, we'll come back to you. We'll go to Spencer.
Kevin, we heard after the game from Shelby and Miles just about sort of the incident that sort of broke out when Malik got hurt with Juwan Jennings and some things that were said. They kind of used the word like disparaging towards some of their players. I just wanted to ask you, you talk so much about your even keel approach to things. First of all, were you happy with the way that they kind of handled that it didn't get out of hand? And how do you sort of make sure that even keel approach rubs off on your guys so those situations don't escalate?
Yeah, I don't have much to add there, Spencer. Obviously was just focused on Malik in that moment.
Thanks.
All right, we'll go back to Mary Kay.
Yeah, Kevin, I'm just wondering, did you see that there was a sideline confrontation that happened between ShedeurSanders and Jerry Jeudy? And I know that that's part of football, that those kind of things do happen. But I'm just wondering, what you not only thought of that, but what do you think is kind of going on with Jerry Jeudy in this season where it's just not going for him the way that he would have expected, or that I guess you guys would have expected?
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, Mary Kay, football is an emotional sport, and certainly you can, when you're a family like we are, you can have your disagreements. Sometimes they're for everybody to see. Sometimes it's behind closed doors, but like a family, we move on, we talk about it. So I'm not worried about it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Daniel, we'll try again.
All right, how about now? All
Yeah.
right, cool. Yeah, so if Wyatt is healthy enough to play, do you anticipate continuing that right guard rotation?
Yeah, Wyatt he's out this week, so we'll see as we get going.
Got you. And then my next question is, if there's, I guess, week 14, is there any plans to open Deshaun Watson's practice window? And if not, is it fair to assume that he will not be returning in any capacity this season?
Yeah, I don't have an update there, Daniel.
Do you not have an update because there hasn't been an update in terms of checking on his physical process, or is it not an update because you just don't know yet?
I just don't have an official update on that.
Gotcha.
All right, we'll go back to Scott.
Hey, Kevin, going back to the Shedeur and Jerry thing, just how important is them to be seeing the things on the same page, right? It felt like they were looking at the same thing and saw two different things. So how important is that for the quarterback and the receiver to read everything the same way?
Yeah, again, that's nothing new in football. When you have plays that you see things and you want to talk through it, but those come up every single game, truly. And sometimes it can be, two offensive linemen saw a play a little bit differently, and you got to look at the tape and get on the same page. So that's all it is.
And then on that first sack Shedeur took, it looked like you guys were right on the edge of field goal range. What's kind of the coaching point about that? Not taking a sack there, or getting the ball, getting rid of the ball earlier, or whatever.
Yeah, it's a learning moment. We'll, with all of our players, young players, young and old players, quarterbacks and otherwise, you just got to coach your guys up on situational ball and what we're trying to accomplish in those moments. But he'll definitely learn from that.
Thanks.
All right, Tony, you have another one?
Actually, no, Daniel took my question. Thank you.
No worries. All right, Mary Kay, last one.
Yeah, just in addition to the fact that, Jerry hasn't been able to necessarily, or that Shedeur and Jerry haven't necessarily been able to connect. How can you guys sort of accelerate the development with other primary receivers such as said Tillman, maybe Devin Njoku? It just seems like there's a lot being left out on the field in that regard.
Yeah, I think, listen, we'll just keep working. I think, Mary Kay, that's probably the main thing. And like you mentioned, there's guys on this football team, multiple guys on this football team that we trust, that we feel really strongly about in the past game. And we'll just continue to work here in Berea and then take that work to the game field on Sundays.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that wraps us up with Coach. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, guys.
I'll let you guys know when Harold and Devin are on the way.
Okay, I'm Randy Prentice, the host of Premier Sports Talk. While we're waiting for either Devin Bush or Harold, Devin Bush, the linebacker for the Cleveland Browns, who's having a really good year, or Harold Fannin Jr., rookie, tight end. Actually, he's playing the best out of all the receiving core. For the Cleveland Browns, I'll drop my thoughts on this game. Feel free, matter of fact, is welcome. Drop your thoughts if you watched the game at all or seen any of the game highlights. I know I will be later on today dropping the film review on Shedeur. There were some key things. I was actually on the road just got off the road where I actually saw the film review, and there were some key things that Shedeur, actually 3 plays where he could have made better decision and had a better outcome. Not that it would have changed the game. Shedeur did have a good throw in the game to Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end. He did not do anything to lose the game. He did get sacked twice in this game. One was at the very end of the game, last play, 4th down and 26. You know, it shows up on the stat sheet, but it really didn't make a difference. So we're waiting for Devin Bush, the linebacker for the Cleveland Browns, or Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end. He's really been balling. David Njoku, the veteran, he only got targeted twice in yesterday's game, caught one. The other one, Shedeur threw it low, trying to avoid a sack. But that game, the game was close up until halftime against the 49ers, and then it just fell apart with the poor special team play. Gage Lavidan, that's wide receiver, unrestricted wide receiver. He wasn't drafted. He worked out with Shedeur the whole time prior to training camp. Actually, I think that was the reasoning why Gage Lavidan was able to make the team. He initially was on the practice squad, got moved up. They had the guy's number who was returning the punt returns for Cleveland was number 2, which was ShedeurSanders' number from Colorado. He got injured for the year. So when he went out, Gage Lavidan, number 84, got moved up from the practice squad. But he had there was 3 critical special team errors. Actually, there was 4. Gage Lavidan, 3 kickoff returns. 1 he outright fumbled. The other 2, he bobbled the ball and recovered. And then number 83, his last name is Conley. Instead of him letting the ball go out of bounds on the kickoff return, he decided to catch it before it went out of bounds on the 6-yard line. They got stuck deep down in their own side of the field instead of the ball going out to the 35-yard line. So pretty poor special teams play yesterday, which really changed all the momentum in the play of the game. The Browns got out of this one pretty banged up. Malik Collins, defensive tackle, had 6 sacks for the year. You know, if you don't know, you're about to know. I call him the human terminator. Myles Garrett has a total of, he had 18 sacks before the game. He got 19 now. He sacked Brock Purdy one time. So Trent Williams on the offensive line did a really good job of keeping the human terminator, Myles Garrett, off of Brock Purdy. And again, I'm just killing time here because we're waiting for either the linebacker, Devin Bush, to be interviewed, or Harold Fannin Jr. on the offensive side, who's been really getting all the big play balls. Actually 3 from ShedeurSanders this year. Isaiah Bond had that one long bomb last week. I'm just waiting for them to show up. But the ask is, drop your comments. Good, bad, or indifferent. When they know they're about to be interviewed, the Browns need to have these people already ready after the coach get done talking. This is the longest had to wait for a player to come out to do his press conference. But yeah, Browns lost Malik Collins for the year, tore his quad injury. I know about quad injury when I was served in the military. I tore my quad. It took me about 6 to 8 months for me to heal from that torn quad. So Malik Collins is out for the year. Collins, who's a guard for the during the game, the Shedeur lost. It seemed like every game they lose 2 offensive linemen during the game. They don't finish the game, but Collins went out with a concussion. Wyatt Teller's out for an injury. Dylan Sampson, the backup court running back number 22, behind Quinshon Junkins. He got a calf injury. They had a total of 8 players get injured in this game. So they're going to be limping into the game against the Tennessee Titans. It's a game that the Browns should win because they're just as bad as the Cleveland Browns. But we shall see who shall be victorious, Cam Ward or ShedeurSanders. They're very competitive. They worked out with each other all during prior to the NFL draft and training camp. They worked out together. I wouldn't say they're good friends, but they have a good a cordial relationship. Now we're going to see the competitive side of each quarterback because each one of them say that they're better than the other. So we soon shall see this Sunday. The game's at Sunday, 1 o'clock at 1 p.m. It is really taken these other 2 players some significant amount of time to come back. There's only 5 weeks left in the season, the regular season. Then we got the playoffs coming up, y'all. I thought the Browns had an opportunity to upset the San Diego Chargers. All you San Francisco 49ers. I salute y'all. Giving y'all props. 49ers was a 5-game favorite over that game. Of course, they beat up on the Browns 28. I believe the score was 26 to 8. The chat's open to all who would like to drop a chat. I just checked it. So whenever you watch this live video feed of the Browns press conference, hit that thumbs up to help the live feed go out. It would be greatly appreciated. Drop your comments. The more activity they see, the more the YouTube algorithm will push it out for other people to see it. We're waiting on Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end, and the linebacker Devin Bush to show up. I will be doing a live collaboration with Will Reese, big time. He's located up in Cleveland. He has 2 channels, Browns Football Talk and Going Strong podcast. I'll be doing a live collaboration with him at a minimum once a week. I agreed to that with him on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. Love to get to interact with you all. We are waiting on the linebacker Devin Bush and the tight end Harold Fannin Jr. Drop y'all comments. Do y'all feel like with the, there was the field condition wasn't bad as far as the snow and the rain or any ice, but the wind was howling there. The wind gust was 27 miles, between 27 and 35 miles per hour. The Browns ran the ball very good in the first half, but it seemed like they got handcuffs on Shedeur. There's only 5 games left. They need to find out what type of quarterback Shedeur can really be. When Dillon Gabriel was in, Kevin Stefanski had Dillon Gabriel throw the ball 30 or 40 something times in one game, but they got the handcuffs on Shedeur. Granted, yesterday's game, because of the wind conditions, they really couldn't put it up in the air. Shedeur did throw that 35-yard touchdown to Harold Fannin, but he also threw one to Jerry Jeudy in the beginning of the game that you can say it was an overthrow. You can say that Jerry Jeudy didn't continue with the route. You can say that Jerry Jeudy didn't stretch out his hands to catch the ball, but there was a big disagreement. It's all over social media. Jerry Jeudy's all in the face of Shedeur with his waving his hands in his face. ShedeurSanders stood up, had to say, hey, hold up now. He was trying to show him the tablet, letting him know what he saw, trying to explain it to Jerry Jeudy. I just think, wide receivers and quarterbacks always go back and forth, but Jerry Jeudy did not do that when Joe Flacco was the quarterback for the Browns this year. He didn't have any rants against Dylan Gabriel, but for whatever reason, he felt comfortable enough to get all in Shedeur's face when Jerry Jeudy fumbled the ball last week when Shedeur threw him a 39-yard bomb, and then he goes and fumbles the ball. He dropped all kind of balls from Dylan Gabriel. He dropped all kind of balls from Joe Flacco. He's having a horrible year this year. Hopefully they'll get on one accord and they'll play better against the Tennessee Titans. I can't believe how long it's taken. I apologize, y'all. That's why all the more importantly, I would love for y'all to drop some comments. Hear y'all thoughts. See your thoughts. Can't hear your voice. The Browns have to play the Tennessee Titans. They have to play the Chicago Bears. They have to play my Pittsburgh Steelers. My Steelers got their behind whooped by the Buffalo Bills yesterday. We was on top of the division. We lost. We're tied 6-6 with the Baltimore Ravens. I think this may be Mike Tomlin's first losing season. Aaron Rodgers is playing with a soft cast on his left wrist. I thought he only had one fractured bone in his left wrist. He actually has 3 fractured bones in his left wrist. I don't know how he got cleared to play that game, but he tried. Didn't do the Steelers any good.
All right, guys, we'll have Devin Bush here in a minute if you want to get questions ready.
Good. Thank you for giving us that update. Devin Bush is coming up next, linebacker for the Cleveland Browns. And Rodgers got knocked out of that game. He got sacked really bad. That first sack, I thought he broke it all the way. His nose got all bloodied up. I thought he broke his nose in that game. I got to tap into that content. I know TJ Watt, Aaron Rodgers, and I forget who the third person did the press conference today. Come on, Devin Bush. Who y'all think is going to win the AFC North? Will it be, well, Joe Burrow came back for the first time after his toe surgery. Matter of fact, he's the one that came back, Cincinnati Bengals, and beat Lamar Jackson in the game. If the Bengals win out, they may have a chance to win the division, but the Bengals have to win out. The Las Vegas art makers have the Ravens favorite to win the division. Both Pittsburgh and the Ravens have to play each other 2 times before the season ends, so we got to play them I think we play them this Sunday coming up, and I think we play them the next to the last game of the season. So it's going to be critical for the Steelers to at least split the game against the Ravens. They have an opportunity to win the division, because the only way that the Steelers with their record can get into the playoffs, they would have to win the division. Okay, here we got Devin Bush coming up. Let's listen to what he has to say.
All right, everyone, we have Devin Bush here. If you have questions, raise your hand and we'll call on you. All right, Mary Kay.
Yeah, Devin, Kevin just told us that Malik is going to be out for the season, and that he needs surgery on the quad. Excuse me. And I was just wondering, what you thought of the season that Malik was having, but it also seems like he really had a tremendous impact on the locker room as a whole in terms of his leadership ability.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you lose a vet like Malik, obviously it's going to be a void that needs to be filled. But in this business that we in, it's always the next man up. Another man's trash could be another man's treasure. So it's going to create opportunity along the D-line and our defense to step up.
And how did Malik maybe make your job easier when he was out there doing his thing?
Just him being him, his play style, his knowledge of the game, and him just being a playmaker.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next we go to Scott.
Hey, Devin. After the game yesterday, Miles said that despite the short fields that you guys were given, that the defense needed to be better and hold the Niners field goals. So does everybody feel the same way? And how do you think you guys could have done that better?
Yeah, of course. Anytime you let a team like that, that caliber, I mean, clearly that's a playoff team. We can't let them in that box easy. We got to give ourselves a chance to stay in the game for as long as possible. And it's just sudden change. It's a thing in this game called sudden change, where things may not go your way. We may get off on a 3 and out, or the offense may have a quick turnover or something like that. But it's our job to go out there and put the fire out as fast as we could.
And then we talked so much about McCaffrey going into the week. His numbers were not what they normally are. How do you think you guys did against him?
Yeah, I think we did well. Of course, he's a big thing for their offense. He gets their offense going. And, if he's not working, then they got to go elsewhere. And I don't think even that was a big thing in our game. Like you just stated, it was more about just us defending the short field and those sudden change moments.
Thanks.
All right, next we go to Cam.
Devin, you mentioned the next guy up has to be ready. In the 2 seasons you've been here, how have you seen that mentality in practice leading into a week? How have you seen the guys on this specific team kind of rally around that idea of being ready for their moment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a testament to that as well. I mean, when JOK went down last year with his neck injury, it was all eyes on me, and it was get ready as fast as you can, and go out there and play. So it was just a week of practice, getting ready for the week of practice, the way we study, the way we prepare, individual drills, team drills, and just taking those reps and treating them like game.
Thanks.
All right, next we go to Jeff.
Hey, Devin, this week you have Cam Ward and the Titans. You probably haven't studied them yet, but what are your impressions of a young rookie quarterback like him, who's supposed to be so great but is struggling?
Yeah, we just got to put him in those situations, struggle some more if he wants some success. So as much as we can do that, the better off we'll be.
Right, thanks.
All right, Mary Kay, you got another one?
Yeah, I do actually have another one. Devin, are you still having to deal with, an off the field situation? Because I thought that you had something tomorrow that you had to deal with. And if so, like what, how is that impacting you on the field and playing and having your mind and everything where it needs to be?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm here, I'm a football player. When I lead this building, I am who I am. Yeah, I know all this is public news, so yeah, I got my stuff tomorrow and everything like that, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, next we go to Scott.
Hey, Devin, I know we've asked you a lot about Miles, but I had a couple of specific things. That sack you got yesterday, I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you've seen the video where he takes that huge step inside and beats those two guys. Have you seen anybody else do a move like that?
Nah, I haven't.
And, you know, he's coming up on that sack title for the season. How important is it to you guys that he gets it?
It's big for us. He's obviously a big catalyst of our defense. He's on the front seven, so obviously he's the first line of attack, and he's also a great player. So of course, we want him to have as much success as he can. And it may not be the best season we have in this season, but we need to hang our hat somewhere. It's our job to get him there.
Thanks.
All right, last call for questions for Devin. All right, thanks, Devin. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right, guys, we'll let you know when Harold's on the way.
Okay.
Oh, Harold's ready.
Okay, awesome. We ain't gotta wait. Harold Fannin Jr., rookie tight end, been balling out for the Cleveland Browns, is about to come up to the mic. But we just did hear some breaking news that Devin Bush, it's been so quiet. He has some off the field issues. I thought, with not hearing anything recently, that he wouldn't be getting possibly suspended from the NFL. And that's going to be devastating if Devin Bush, it sounds like he said he meets with the NFL commissioner's staff tomorrow and sees what happens. Because it'd be crazy if they suspend him now. That'll be a big blow to the Cleveland Browns. But he has some domestic issues going on. And we'll hear in the near future what's going to happen. Harold Fannin Jr.,
All
tight
right,
end.
everyone, we have Harold Fannin here. If you have questions, raise your hand and we'll get to you. I'll unmute you. You good, Harold?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah. All right, first question, we'll go to Cam.
Harold, on your touchdown, kind of fought for those extra yards. Tommy Reese said before the game that he tells the team that they can't stop playing through a play because if you've got the ball, it might not be over. How have you embraced kind of the idea of yak and fighting for those extra yards? And what does that say about your play style that you're able to execute that?
Yeah, I mean, I was just always taught since a young age just to fall forward, fight for those extra yards, and, in that moment, I seen the end zone. So, of course, I fought extra hard for that.
When you are out there, fighting for it, does it feel, maybe I know you're a rookie, but does it feel like a kind of leadership in its own to be able to go out there and try to push your way into a first down, push your way to the end zone, push your way to a win?
Nah, I mean, I don't really think as it is something, spectacular. It's just, like I said, something I've just been doing for a while. So, just natural.
Thanks.
Next we go to Scott.
Hey, Harold, what happened on that 4th and 1 when you were lined up behind center?
Yeah, just got to hold on to the snap. Yeah, I mean, if the time was rolling, I feel like I should have called a timeout. I wasn't thinking straight, but yeah, just didn't hold the ball really.
If you get the snap cleanly, like, do you feel like you convert the first down there? You pick it up?
Yeah, I think so. I think we got a good line. They would have got a good push. I just got to hold on to the ball.
Thanks.
Next we go to Jeff.
I'm going to ask you about that play too, Harold. Did you ever run that at Bowling Green?
Not at Bowling Green. No, I haven't.
So did you do it in high school or junior high?
I mean, I just my freshman year in high school, I used to play a little bit of quarterback, so I got a little bit of experience right there. Through the week, throughout the whole year, I've been practicing, taking snaps like that and stuff. So
Was the ball wet and slippery?
no, like I said, I was just rushing it because of the shot clock, and yeah.
All right, thanks.
All right, next one, Mary Kay.
Yeah, Harold, wondering, what do you learn from something like that? You've been making some really nice big plays, and then have like an occasional mistake like that. Is that just the life of a rookie? And, what's your takeaway from a game like that where you contributed in a big way, but then also have one that you'd like to have back?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the life of a rookie. I feel like, all players go through it. There's gonna be some highs, gonna be some lows, but just come to work, ready to work every day.
And do you guys, after a game like that, I don't know if you've had a chance to come together yet, but do you resolve to, just really try to play a clean game going forward and make a point of emphasis of just coming out the next week and learning from those kinds of things?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I say we try to, go over the mistakes, fix the mistakes, try to not let those mistakes happen again in the next game. And like you said, just keep learning from it.
And one more thing on that real quick, was Shedeur and some of the other guys like very, helpful in the aftermath of that and encouraging you and telling you to keep your head up and not let it get to you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what the score was, so it was still a pretty tight game. So I feel like, it didn't really affect us at the time, but, obviously, like I said earlier, I wish I would have done something different.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's go to Spencer.
Hey, Harold. Shedeur's talked a lot about just trying to kind of get on the same page and build chemistry, like especially with a guy like Jerry. But it seems like you've kind of become like a safety net of sorts for him, and you guys kind of already have that chemistry developed. Just what has led to some of the success that you guys have had in these first couple of games together, and being able to sort of produce on the field?
I mean, obviously the practices, but I feel like us just, just sitting down, talking in the locker room, seeing how he wants things and seeing how I see things and, trying to just meet in the middle, really.
And then when Kevin's going for it on those fourth downs, whether you're under center or taking the snap with the way you guys ran that play or not, like how much do you guys appreciate sort of that aggressive style? Like, do you guys appreciate that aggressive sort of play calling and approach? And is that something that as an offense you guys kind of encourage Kevin to go for it in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, I like it, like I trust him 100%. Obviously, looking at those short down and distance, in my mind, we can always get it. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I like being aggressive. Things like that.
Thanks.
All right, we'll go back to Scott.
Hey, Harold, after the game yesterday, Shedeur said that he thought he needed to be better helping guys rally through adversity. How do you think he's been? I know it's only been 2 starts, but how do you think he's been on the field in the huddle during those difficult times?
Yeah, I say he's been great. I feel like, in those huddles, he's very good with the situation, that we're in, and, helping us talk us through it and, really just motivating us to go out there and, put something together.
Thank you.
All right, Mary Kay, you have one more?
No, thank you.
All right, last call for questions for Harold. Cam, we'll go back to you.
All right, Harold, as someone who's kind of worked with the special teams unit, what do you think maybe can change, could be better in a week, if anything, to maybe clean up some of the blunders on returns and coverage and all the things that have needed to be cleaned up? Is that something that can happen in a week of preparation, or does that just come down to a game?
I mean, I'll probably say it can, it can obviously be fixed in a second. Special teams is a lot of one-on-ones. And obviously I'm gonna take our 11 over theirs. And Bubba always say all the time, these are like easy fixes. Like it ain't nothing crazy. Like we can easily fix this if we all just come together and in that moment and play for each other.
Okay, there we have it. We just heard from Kevin Stefanski, the coach of the Cleveland Browns, linebacker Devin Bush, tight end Harold Fannin Jr. We did get some breaking news out of this press conference is that Malik Collins, I knew he was injured, but I didn't know the extent of it. They released that he's out for the season. It's a quad injury. I hope he doesn't have to get surgery on it. And you tear that quad, it's a painful thing. I had it when I was in the military, so I know the extent of that injury. Some bigger breaking news is that Devin Bush, the middle linebacker, who has some off-field altercations going on with some domestic issues. It was pretty big news prior to the season starting, and then when the season started, it like got hush and water under the bridge. But Mary Kay Cabot asked Devin Bush, she must have had a tip that he has to meet with the NFL commissioner. I believe he said he has to meet with them tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be a video conference call or if he has to go up to the headquarters up in New York to get what his possible punishment's going to be. If they lose Devin Bush, that's going to be, they're already having a challenging season, but if they lose Devin Bush, that's going to be detrimental to the team. Devin Bush been having a really great year as a middle linebacker for the Cleveland Browns. I just want to thank you all for supporting Premier Sports Talk. I'll be doing some actual live show collaborations with Going Strong Podcast and Browns Football Talk. His name is Will Reese. And then I'm waiting on a confirmation to do another live collaborations. We'll be doing that for both NFL, and then when the NFL season starts, we'll be doing some collaborations in the NBA. But thank you all for supporting the channel. Without you all support, there is no Premier Sports Talk. I'm your host, Randy Prentice. Thank you for being a blessing to the channel, and may you receive a blessings back double fold. And do me a favor, help this small channel get out the YouTube algorithm basement. The more people hit the thumbs up, the more you can comment on the channel, the more the activity they see, it will push the channel out more to more people to see. Y'all have a blessed one.